Hi Scotty, I'm back. Here's how the rose turned out. I beveled anything I thought was the foreground, tried to bevel the leaves to make it show what was in the foreground and the background. And then I did a traditional effect with the background stamp where I did the backgrounding around the outside. And you notice the darkness that's already starting to show up as opposed to the lightness of the untouched leather. So there you go. The next project is this puppy. Now the first time around I made his ears beveled down to show the inside, and then I didn't really know what to do with the eyes. So I will give it a shot with this other one. And what I'm going to do for his eyes this time around is see if I can think of the eyes as the top of a golf ball, where I'm going to push the edges of the golf ball down and the top is going to lift up. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, let's try it for the other side. I always want to see where the tip of the tool meets my cut line, which is why I turn my leather and why I'm going to recommend you turn your leather as often as you need to. Otherwise you end up carving away. So this one I think I kept, the video will show, but I think I kept my tool too straight and squished some of that eye down instead of tipping it a little more. Alright. Now let's do across his forehead. Pick it up and turn it, pulling it towards me. Even though you notice the angle I've got it is making it hard for my hand to hold this tiny piece of leather down. Now let's try along his back. You'll notice my beveler isn't quite the same as yours. When I bought my first beveler, it's smooth on the bottom. And I noticed your beveler has a background pattern on it already. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I've never had the chance to use one, but I know a lot of places recommend them and sell them that way. Because I prefer to pull it towards me, specifically to my left, I could, I believe, switch hands, but I'll bet that will make it a little harder for you to see what's going on today. So I won't do that today. But it's something I should definitely try more so that I can rest my hammer hand by making it hold the tool. And again, the leather moving on me is just a side effect of the fact that I'm working with such a small piece. You won't have to worry about that. That's just my chair moving. Now you notice it's really not getting very deep. So I will assume that that edge has dried up some. And that he needs to be wet down a little more. Okay, so the leather's dried back up a bit. I'll continue on. If the leather's too dry, it'll kick your tools out. You won't be able to get deep enough hits or deep enough cuts, and then when you're done, you really just won't have gotten to the middle layer of the leather. So it'll look really shallow. If it's too wet, it won't be burnished when you dry it. When it dries, and it just won't have a sharp, crisp look. So when I cut this dog, I stayed true to the artist's rendition instead of doing what the leather needed. And the leather needs this face to have a little bit of a line and outline around him. So I'm adding a little skin between the dog's eye and the background, and the same for the cheek. Now you see I just went on purpose over into the dog. So the way that I will fix that is to make it sopping wet, and I will let that soak through till it gets all the way to the middle, and I'll come back to it once it's had a chance to reach the middle, and I'll show you how to fix it with a modeling spoon. Of course, I don't know what you're going to be able to use to replace a modeling spoon, since I don't believe you have one just laying around, but I'm sure you might have some small tools that would do the job for you. Now you notice I had to stamp over a line that I'd already cut and stamped, so I'm going to go back and just do a couple different layers on it to make sure I'm getting those legs in the foreground and the background and his rib cage where it belongs. So I don't want to smooth out where his leg joins his body too much, but I do want to have that rib cage have a nice separation. Easy to forget parts, so let's see here. I've got the outline of the ears, both sides of the face, the insides of that. I need to come back for the mouth. I need to fix this side. I've got that. I'm missing the front of this leg and the front of that leg. Okay, so I believe that this area has gotten wet enough, soaked through down to the chest enough that I can come along just try to push that out a little bit. While I'm at it, I will try to fix that cut on his tongue that I didn't really mean to be there. That happened when my swivel knife went up into the pattern. So now he's not so deep, and he's a little smoother. Okay. So I know you only have one size tool, so that's what I'm going to stick with here. So I would normally switch to a smaller tool for fine areas like this corner of his lip. So since I know you have one tool and I have one tool, then I'm just going to try and play with the angles so that instead of hitting with the entire surface, because you notice this is rounded, I'm just going to try and hit with one small corner. There we go. Now making the tongue pop up and out a little bit more. And we're now going to make that just a little bit like that. And I squish the side of his lip. Smooth that out. Forgot his ear.